to Let's Crack It, episode 2. My name is Phil, and
Carlo.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about user experience and user journeys. We're going to deep dive into what Carlo does because it's quite of a main topic in his job as a product designer and as a UX designer specifically. Plus, I will give my 20 cents to how important it is also on the SEO side of work. So, Carlo, maybe for the beginning, try to explain a little bit what an user experience is, and basically just for people that are not so savvy on this topic, just that they understand everybody's talking about UX and UI, maybe what's the difference as well.
So taking the topic of UX, actually UX, that stands for user experience, is really a broad concept, actually, in the sense that also UX and UI, actually, it's something that doesn't really make sense, even though it's used since many years, also in job posting. Because actually UI is part of a user experience, right? So the user experience is the umbrella of that contains everything, right? And so, using this terminology, user experience / UI, it's always a bit tricky for one that is into the field since 13 years, like me. Again, because UI, it's just the user interface part. So
visual part, right?
Exactly, the visual part. So it's contrast, colors, and this part that is really the part that the user see on your website or on your application or on mobile app, whatever, right? So it's really this front end part in the technical jargon, I would say. And today talking about the user journeys. Actually, user journeys, it's one of the chunk of the work that usually a product designer and UX designer in general should do. And actually, user journey, if we want to take it a bit easy in terms of explanation of what this user journey is basically one of the output that us as product designer and UX designer should put on the table at least at the beginning of a project to basically analyze what are, I would say, the pain points of a user, right? And where the user, I would say, interact with the product. And actually, user journey, I would say, it's really significant because helps the business also to understand how the user again interact with their product, how they interact with that again could be a physical product, but also a digital product. And in this, I would say, digital era, product design is really attached to this job, which is the digital product designer, because actually product design comes from, I would say, the industrial design, which is the person that creates the object that we use every day.
Right.
So we have product designer also that, I don't know, create a chair that created our amazing cameras that we use. So are always product designer, but are physical products.
It's kind of like an inventor / technician on a digital area.
Exactly.
Right. So if somebody comes and says like, Carlo, I need a chair, you would make a chair. And if he says like, it should be designed that way that if I stand in front of it, I can just slide in without feeling that I have to bend down with my knees, you will have to find a solution for that, right? But since we are not creating chairs, you are basically doing that on a digital aspect.
Exactly.
All
this
right.
is what is my job actually. And Yeah, I think it's really, again, this part of the UX process. It's really super important also because, again, it has in common something also with, I would say, SEO and marketing. Because user journeys is not only, I would say, this fancy tables where basically you put, pain points and where we can improve, etc. Um, because actually everything starts from, I would say, the research, right? Because one of the most important things to understand about creating a new product, I say product because in terms of website is a little bit different approach. Sometimes you really don't need to have a user journey for building a website, right? It's important for products because you really need to understand what the final user, should do, and if you are there to solve a problem, you first need to understand what are their problems, right?
Right, right,
And but even before, I mean, again, the research start from understanding who they are, right? So what is your target audience for the product, what they do in, I would say, in a daily basis, and again, what are the challenges that they face every day, and this is really a crucial part that I see for experience with a lot of, I would say, companies I worked with, and unfortunately I currently work with, uh, that they never really take this step in consideration when they start a project, which is crucial because actually, usually what happens is that one guy have a brilliant idea and they have some money and they start to build something without this I would say first critical step, which is exactly what I'm solving, right? With the idea that I have, is it something that people really need, right?
right.
Or
Is it a
if
problem out there, right?
what? Sorry.
Does it make somebody's life actually easier?
Exactly.
Right,
This is the goal, right? Because if you create a product, the goal is to make the life of a person easier, right?
right.
And after there is the part of, I would say, mapping the journey. So basically, the thing is, you cannot improve what you don't understand, right? So first, you have to understand your product and where also in your product, if you already have one, there are problems. What are the pain points? Or if you have to understand from the user where are the pain points, it's important to map them. I would say in this user journey, right? In this user journey map, which is called. And then from there, I would say the path is quite easy in the sense that if you have clear what you should do, well, start to design an experience. It's much faster because you have an objective, right? So you
Right.
know that
You have a goal where you can like work towards, right? It's not
exactly.
just like, I mean, maybe correct me, but if I imagine when you are designing or yeah, just drafting a SaaS solution, for example,
Mhm.
and it just said like it should do that. I mean, instantly my marketing head comes into play. Is like, okay, but why should it do that? You know, like what's the issue? of our targeted client, you know. And I mean, I can completely follow you what you just explained,
Yeah,
and I see so many similarities of like
yeah,
what I need to figure
exactly,
out before as well, you know. So
exactly.
yeah,
That's why again, we really there are really some connection about these things, right? Because the design process again is not only the process designing a product, but the design
right,
process is really a way of thinking, right? So it's a
right,
way of that can be applied actually in 90% or 95% of the cases, and
right,
not
right.
only in design, right? So design thinking. And
So I'm wondering, sorry,
yeah,
as a UX designer,
yes,
how do you even live in this world, you know? How do you, I mean, I can talk from my perspective
yeah,
as SEO and marketer. Every time I go on a website, I check what is it built on, what's the performance of it, you know, like sometimes I just do an audit quickly, you
yeah,
know, like an
yeah,
automated, or I let it run through Screaming Frog, the tool where I can just
yeah.
crawl the website quickly. And do you have that as well? Like you're using certain things, you're like, this is so terrible here. This is a bad journey. Like, why is the
Yeah,
button up here? Or like, it doesn't make sense that I land out here. It's like, doesn't that like bug
yeah.
you at some point?
Actually,
Or how?
actually, I have this feeling almost every day. I mean, we can see a lot of big companies that does they do actually their job quite well, and
Mhm.
I can tell you like two simple examples. Like we have Airbnb that recently also changed and improved a lot their experience on the platform. Uh, and also, for example, Wise, which is banking system. Actually, it's a digital wallet, a little bit like PayPal, but definitely cheaper, and on the other side, much more advanced. And they do their job really well, right?
Right.
And you understand it because when you use their applications, I mean, everything flows so, I would say, naturally. That is even, you know, I mean, you are excited to use it, right? It's not that you judge, just say, oh, what is this button, or where can
Right.
I don't know, change the date? I cannot change the date, right? This kind
Yeah.
of stuff that
I,
absolutely should not happen, right?
I think that's an important part that you just open up the, I don't know what's the proper English word, but I would say it's the intuitivity
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of tools to use. And there's so many of those out there where I just, which I use, for example, apps like date picking, what you just mentioned, you know, sometimes it just opens this very small calendar. And with my sausage finger, I cannot tip this day, like, okay, you want to have this day, for example,
Yeah.
or even worse is like when I have to give in my birth date and it starts with today's date. And usually you click, I mean, by now I have learned that I click on the year number and it opens like a thing where I can get into 1989, for example,
Yeah.
because I am not the youngest yet anymore. But so I have to go a little
Well,
bit
yeah,
back.
you're younger than
But
me.
but but sometimes you don't have that, you know. Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to point that out, Carlo, but that was not my intention. But sometimes you have to kind of like scroll back month for month. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell? I'm not doing that. You know, this is terrible. Who made that?
Yeah.
And yeah, but this is like what you just said. It should come natural. It should flow. Like you should get this thing, and as soon as it raises a question, this
Yeah.
I think that's a problem that people like you should be solving. Then, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
This is actually the goal of product designer. Again, because in this case, we always talk about a product, because even though I would say, like for example, Airbnb, it's a website. Actually, yeah, it's a product, because there you are solving a problem, which is finding a room or an apartment where the people want to go on vacation or whatever, right?
Right.
So you're solving that problem. Um, and not only this, because obviously they expanded the business a lot with online experiences, and this right after the COVID, and they were the first one to do that, right? So to create these online experiences where you can share thoughts or share events with people again on the other side of the world, right? Which is really cool. And yeah, the other part that is crucial after this one, I would say, is one of the, I would say, the part that is also never really taken into consideration when you start building and you show up in public, I would say, with your application or with your tool, which is the continuous testing.
Right.
And
Split testing.
like split testing, A/B testing, which is exactly the same thing you should do, like on marketing and SEO when you
Exactly.
do campaigns and stuff like that, to understand what's
What is working, right?
working well, right?
Yes, yes.
And what works well for the user. And this is actually, again, another super important things that people think that they build it, they ship it, that's it.
Done. It's it, right?
Done.
I knew I had the idea. It must be perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of clients of mine also in the past, they thought, okay, we built it. We had a client that asked for it. We built it. They're happy. Fine. No, actually not. You should really test it
Right.
and have what is called the looping feedback, to really understand what how you should improve, because the app, or again the website. It's important because it helps to really have applications that comes out like Airbnb, or Wise, or I don't know, even Google. I mean, Google, it's one of the probably the
They
guru
are annoying with their split testing, yeah.
exactly of this kind of stuff, right? And well, okay, you can say, yeah, Google has probably hundreds of designers and head of design that do an amazing job. I never had this opportunity to work in such big companies. I worked for a lot of other big companies, but again, it's also a matter of how the company perceive, um, I would say, the added value of a product designer in their company.
Right.
Because obviously, if you are Google, you understand how important it is to have a design, that resonates to the people, right? Because it should be, as I said before, fluid. People should not, find them into the weeds and don't understand where to go, right? I remember, for example, from Google, an experiment that was like for a couple of years. They rethought the Gmail. It was
Mm-hmm.
called Inbox,
Okay.
and
That is a really long time ago, huh?
yeah,
I don't,
exactly.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and this was one of the example where they A/B tested, right, with people for a long time, because actually you could use Gmail, right, in the normal way, but you could also use Inbox, which was completely different, I would say, approach to the
Right.
real inbox, the real Gmail approach. And after they sunsetted the application, and testing and understanding what to, I would say, keep of good from inbox, actually they implemented something in Gmail, which
Okay.
was obviously the good move, because Gmail is, I don't know, used by billions of people, right?
Right.
And
I know that. That's why we target Gmail also for advertisements.
exactly,
It
exactly.
adds straight into your inbox, basically.
Exactly.
No, but it's amazing. Like sometimes I get really annoyed by. I mean, I know that Google does an amazing job in split testing, A/B testing, but it can get really annoying, especially when you work with Google Ads. I mean, everybody out there who works with Google Ads is probably nodding like, yeah, I remember. Like every 14 days, I when I start up Google Ads, there is some update or the whole UI looks completely different, and I'm always wondering like, who said this is good? Like, I don't know. Now I have to look for where is everything again. And yeah, but they do it on like very high level. Like their split testing is just crazy. But it's important, like you said.
Yeah.
It's very important. And I mean, for marketing, as we figured out earlier in this episode, is also never make one ad without split testing. It's like one of my earlier mentors once said, no ad without a A/B test. And it makes sense. I mean, I think sometimes, okay, this is a great ad or this is a great meta description, but if you don't look at it and you don't try out or test, also it could be that you made a split test and you take the winner, for example, like the better performing version, and at some point people change, also times change, and like the way people interact with certain products, that also changes, and in no time you have to anyway redo the whole campaign again and test it again because certain circumstances. So yeah, I think we take this as a lesson from today, that never do anything and just take it for granted and just
So
keep on testing. It's the same in SEO as well. Once I do a page audit and I think it's great, I don't just let it go, like you said before with your client that was like, okay, here, fine, here's your product. It's a
exactly.
done job. Just you should be striving for perfection in a way.
Exactly.
All right, Carlo. So where do you see this user journey going in the future? Or do you think it stays the same? Or do you have maybe with AI or anything like that that's coming up, popping up every other week, some new tools? What's your take on that?
Yeah, actually, I think with nowadays with AI and the usage of augmented reality and virtual reality too, we should really think broadly, right? Even Web3, and this kind of stuff, we have really to approach the world in a different way, because at one point, we arrive at the point where I don't know. Probably you will wear some glasses, and you ask to the glasses, bring me there, and you will have this, uh, augmented reality that appears in the glass and this kind of stuff, which is something that is really already something that with some glasses you can already do, right? And they are coming out every day, uh, new tools and new gadgets that is going really in the future. And again, the user journey, obviously it's important, and you have to understand how the user how to solve a problem for the user, understanding their pain points. And again, for example, of now we have also on Google Maps, for example, we have this augmented reality thing where you turn up your phone, and on the camera you turn on the camera and it points on the right direction, right? You have this big arrows that tells you where to go.
You mean
And
like a head-up display, somehow like that,
exactly,
right?
exactly. So
Right.
this is purely augmented reality, and this is, I would say, solving a problem, right? So where you are walking, sometimes you don't know exactly where to go, what is the right way, right? And this is solving a problem. Is not yet into, I would say, um, in the everyday life, because it's sometimes weird to see a person like this that is looking around, right?
They're
Probably
all
one
playing
day.
Pokemon Go.
Exactly, exactly. This is one of the most
Yes,
important example of augmented reality. It make a real big
it's
boom.
a good use
Yeah,
of it, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a
exactly,
fun way to use it. Yeah.
exactly. By millions and millions, going around like a stupid searching for Pokemon
Also,
around you, right?
marketers such as me and Google, they also love it because we can get a lot of data from these people.
Yeah, I think
So,
yeah, this is it for, I would say, the user journeys, and how the user journeys is important in, I would say, in every product of any kind.
maybe tell me, I mean, you have worked in various industries so far. Do you think, or like, which industry do you think will have the crassest change in their user journey, or like which industry will most certainly implement like the new technologies the fastest? What's your feeling about that?
Well, it's there are a lot of news actually on internet regarding the usage of, for example, augmented reality into the healthcare system. And I think definitely there can be a problem solver. I don't know. Also, from my point of view, doctors can be trained faster, and during the I don't know, university, etc. So, and also they can really be helped by these tools, like wearing glasses, and they you know
Right.
scan the I don't know, the body of the person, and they know exactly where to put their fingers. So this really, from my point of view, it's
So as
can be
in a way,
really.
so basically in a way of a simulator on, maybe I don't call it product. It's a bit uh, condescending to say like every person is a product in the medicinal field, but yeah, I mean, that will definitely make sense before you cut somebody open, do it 3, 30,
Exactly,
40 times on a simulated person. And yeah, I can
exactly.
see that too. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think of it right away. I was more thinking of the financial
Mhm,
banks that they
mhm.
jump on that. But I mean, that is definitely a good application. Yeah. Many medicinal products. All right, everybody. We are at the end of our second episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It was very interesting for me to just listen to actually talk to a real UX professional. And again, UX is important for my part of work as well. We will get into that in a later episode then. But keep in mind, to solve problems, that's what we are all out there. That's what we make our big bucks on, because everybody
Exactly.
pays good money for taking away a problem. And make sure you follow us on Spotify, on Twitter, on Carlo Cicarel9 or THBP Design, or me on Instagram, thbp.design. And we hope to have you next time with us as well. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice day, everybody, or evening, or morning, or night. Who
Very nice.
knows?
Exactly.
And take care, everybody. Stay healthy.